Shalom, call halal Yahweh Shai. Continuing on, you already know what it is. They cut the video, they cut off my camera as they often do. We're gonna keep going. But yeah, we were saying that these people were the ones who owned the slave ships. All right, were the pilots of the slave ships. Actually, a lot of the slave ships were owned by Jewish people. That's history. You can look up for yourself. All right, but back in Habakkuk 2 and 7. Now I'm going to jump right down to 8, and it says, "But thou hast spoiled many nations, all the remnant of the people shall spoil thee, because of men's blood, and for violence of the land, and of the city, and all that dwell therein. Woe to him that coveteth an evil covenant to his house, that he may set a nest on high, that he may be delivered from the power of evil." So, they set themselves up high above all people in every nation where they went, where they were. I mean, they even have space stations now that dwell in and that dwell in lower Earth orbit. LEO. That's the acronym, because they can't go any further than LEO. That's a whole nother story, though. All right, so let's continue to let him lie. This narrator.
Europeans are spread everywhere throughout the world, on every continent and every corner. Wherever we've went, we've built a Christian civilization. However,
and then they show you the forefathers of America, a Christian civilization, and the true Christians in the Bible were Israelites. Okay? So in actuality, what he's doing is he's telling them themselves. And that's the thing. You can't do anything against this truth. You can only do things for the truth. All right, so let's as a matter of fact, let's go to the Bible. Let's go to the book of Acts. Let's I think it's 26 and 11. That one. 11 Acts. Oh yeah, Acts 11 and 6. All right, I'm gonna read 3 quick scriptures. This is Acts 11 and 26, and it reads, "And when they found him, he brought him unto Antioch, and it came to pass that the whole year they assembled themselves with the church and taught much people. And the disciples were called Christians first in Antioch." So let's get a description of those disciples. All right. "Now, there were in the church that was at Antioch certain prophets and teachers, as Barnabas and Simon that was called Niger. All right. And Lucius of Cyrene, and Manaen, which been brought up with Herod the Tetrarch, and Saul." So you have people that will earnestly say Niger. All right. No, it's actually pronounced nigger, and I'm going to prove it. All right. Because it wasn't a bad word. It's going, and as a matter of fact, the very definition of it is going to explain that. It was no difference from saying Negro, black, or Moreno. Or, matter of fact, even the word Jew. Because when you look up the online etymology dictionary, Moreno, Jew, and Niger, all in the same, or nigger, are all in the same definition. Because it just really was referring to someone that has dark skin. The word Scot even refers to dark skin. Hell, Dublin meant city of the black. And we have evidences of the removal of all the black indigenous people from Britain, Scotland, and Ireland. All right, mainly Ireland by Oliver Cromwell. But let's get that definition. So Salakia, this is all through the Spirit, because he's, I hadn't watched this video, so I had wrote down all these things, and then as it goes on, it's just presenting opportunities to destroy his lies, man. Okay. And I'm gonna have some of the brothers, some of the elders in Chicago camp, some of the bishops, also go in on this subject matter. Negro, Negress, Negroid. Resembling the Negroes in appearance, racial characteristics, etc., as written. Negroid, a member of the races having Negro blood or Negro characteristics. Now, when you read, the Zondervan Dictionary Bible, it tells you that the Negroid races were not Africans. That they were not. But here we go. Evidence. Exhibit A. All right. You see that? Nigger. And look at the first spelling. Niger. They will say Niger, but no, it's pronounced nigger. All right. It says French, Negro, Spain, Negre, Spanish, the Spain, Negro, dark-skinned one, Latin, Niger. See? Black, a Negro. Now usually a contemptuous or vulgar term. Now it's a contemptuous term, but it wasn't in the past, or a vulgar term. It just simply was a description. It was no difference from Niger, from the French negre, from the Spanish negro, all right, from the Latin Niger, black. All right. Once again, a Negro, now usually a contemptuous or vulgar term. Any dark-skinned person prevailing among the characteristics of American Negroes. And it's funny, that's one of the main places where the slave ships came, bringing the Israelites into captivity. Okay, so he's going to. As a matter of fact, I'm going to read some scriptures and stop here and probably do a part 3, 4. I don't know how far I'm going to go with this. Although I've done enough to destroy his lies already, I just want to, I gotta continue with this because there's so many scriptures that I haven't even brought out yet. All right, so this guy is a liar. The Christians were so-called black. All right, they were niggers. All right, to be frank with you. Okay, and as a matter of fact, let's play a little bit more.
Europeans were not always found scattered across the world. At one time, we weren't even found in Europe. Just over 2,000 years ago,
You see, at one time they weren't found in Europe because they migrated there. They went there through from Alexander of Macedon. See, they're all Edomites. So he's trying to hint that they're Japhetic. So it's just so many lies that don't matter. Because how can you be Japhet? Because he's going to say that they, matter of fact, I'll let him say it.
All collectively, for the most part, originated from a mass of Germanic tribes who swarmed into Europe and eventually even conquered and destroyed the Roman Empire.
So the Roman Empire was the Roman Empire was destroyed by Israelites. All right, and it was destroyed from within by soldiers within the Roman army, Negroes, Septimius Severus. They even have the era of the what they refer to as African emperors. Septimius Severus being one of the first ones, and they'll admit that much, but they'll call them Africans. Thus beginning the Dark Ages. Okay, so let's go to because Edom was destroyed and went down. All right, he became a nobody, a no people. As a matter of fact, Job, this is what happened when Rome fell. This is why they came against the Israelites so viciously when they came back into power, as I'm going to read. But let's go to the book of Job, the 30th chapter. And this is Job 30:1. It says, "But now they that are younger than I have me in derision, whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock." All right, because these Edomites were pushed into the Caucasus Mountains. They didn't go up there on their own. They were forced up there. Their first home was Mount Seir, all right, which is south of Israel. All right. Then in those caves of Mount Seir, which you look at the construction of Mount Seir, the carving of those rocks, you can clearly see that that's the way that they still build to this day. When you look at the buildings and the castles that were all over Europe, Ireland, Scotland, and Britain, they were built up with unhewn stone, which is the way that the Israelites built up. And so he's trying to claim that history and claim Japheth's history and just everybody's history. The Europeans were dark complected people. As a matter of fact, I did break this book out. So let's see if I can find that real quick, just to prove that point, and then finish with this scripture. Because there's just so many relics. We already in. Maybe it's not this one, but the other one. Ah, it's the one up Salakia. I just remembered. It's not this one. It still is a great book, though, because we annihilated that first lie. So Salakia, let's grab it. Okay, I'm back. Salakia. Yep. This is the one. Here we go. Here are your images of Europeans. Here are the relics that were left behind. All right. That's an image of Hercules, a great big old black dude, destroying these priests. Those are your Europeans right there. This is their art. It's on a vase. This is the opposite side of that vase. All right. Those are European soldiers, Etruscans. All right. They don't look like white people. They don't look like these guys. All right. These people are coming to rescue. And here it is. Now, once they look like they're probably
Off as Englishmen or French, German, American, Australian, and
all Edomites. Looks like they're about to mess with the camera. It usually starts acting up like that before they and those are all made up terms too. Here we go. Damn it. Yeah, they're definitely messing with it. Just don't want to focus all of a sudden. But it tells you, come on, man. I was trying to read the description. We'll let, show it through the camera. But it just refuses to focus all of a sudden. There we go. Hydra scenes from Heracles fighting against Egyptians. Heracles slaying Perseus priests. Soldiers coming to the aid of Perseus. From Saverta, Italy, necropolis, from 520 to 510 BC, terracotta. It is in Vienna, well, I can't pronounce that word, in that museum, in that place right there. That's where it sits. So this is a vase, all right, which depicts those images. So that don't look like those people. At all. Come on now, refocus. Yeah, they don't look like those people right there. And remember, all those names are made up names. Those aren't biblical names. And there's a reason why biblical names aren't being used anymore. But let's go back to this. Because these Edomites were trying to hide who they were, and they cast that veil over all people. And it's like we always tell you, once you learn who the nations are today in relation to the races in the Bible, then the Bible becomes clear to you. But let's finish in this Job. It says, but now they that are younger than I have me in derision. This is Job 30:1. Whose fathers I would have disdained to have set with the dogs of my flock. Yea, whereunto might the strength of their hands profit me, in whom old age was perished. For want of famine, they were solitary, fleeing into the wilderness in former time, desolate of waste, who cut up mallows by the bushes and juniper roots by the meat. And they still like those juniper roots today. They use it in different alcohols and foods. Okay, and it says, and they were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as after a thief. And there are images of knights, brown-skinned knights, forcing the Edomites up into the mountains. All right, that's what they did. They forced them up into the Caucasus Mountain. And the word Caucasian means cave dweller. These are the only people that ever lived in caves. All right, like that. When they were there for generation after generation. They're the only people that ever did that, which was better for them anyway because their bodies can't handle the sun. They get burned if they're in the sun too long. All right, it says, they were driven forth from among men. They cried after them as a thief. They dwell in the cliffs of the valleys, in the caves of the earth, and in the rocks, and among the bushes. They brayed under the nettles. They were gathered together. They were children of fools. Yeah, they were base men. They were viler than the earth. And now I am their song. Yeah, I am their byword. And that's another thing. The bywords were called niggers, spics, natives, savages, beaners, coons, tree niggers, prairie niggers. That was one of the words that they called so-called natives. All right. So let's grab a couple more scriptures and then let me see where I'm at. Well, I'm only a minute into this video. I'm at the minute 3 second mark. Yeah, I think I'm gonna Yahweh Ratazah. I may go through this whole video and just lie, or as the rappers or the kids say, shit on them. All right, meaning we're gonna expose them so badly. All right, but this is Jeremiah 17:4. And as we read those curses too, this may be the image that we leave up, because what you're going to realize is that these people never experienced any of the curses. But this is Jeremiah 17:4. And thou even thyself shalt discontinue from thy heritage which I gave thee, and I will cause thee to serve thy enemies in the land which thou knowest not. For ye have kindled a fire in my anger which shall burn forever. So he just talked about how they went to all these places and set up these places, but they weren't serving anyone in these places. People were serving them. Why? Because the curses said that they would be that the Israelites would be the tail and not the head. These people are the head. So he's talking about them being scattered. No, they didn't scatter. They migrated. There's a difference between being scattered and migrating. See, this man is a liar. And this truth vids, they're discredited already. This one video discredits everything about them. They're liars. So let's go to the curses. All right, let's just skim through the curses, which we'll probably do in the follow-up of this, Yahweh Ratazah. Let's go to Deuteronomy and go to the curses, man, because I think I presented enough physical proof, but even though there's going to be more. All right. But let's start at chapter 28, Deuteronomy 28, and we'll start at verse 16. That's where the curses began. All right. And it says, cursed shalt thou be in the city, and cursed shalt thou be in the field. They never were forced into the field. Their fields were prosperous. They're all the farmers. They sell out, they're the farmers, South Africa, wherever they are. In America, all because in all throughout the Americas, North, Central, and South America, wherever they were located, they were the dominant people. They were the farmers in Australia. They were the farmers. They were making all the money in Australia. They were making all the money in South Africa. Okay. Cursed shall thy basket be in thy store. All right. Cursed shall be the fruit of thy body and the fruit of thy land and the increase of thy kind and the flocks of thy sheep. So, we didn't really have any of that. Everything that we had belonged unto them. They took it. All right. But let's skip around. Here we go. The Lord shall cause thee to be smitten before thy enemies, and thou shalt go out one way against them, and flee 7 ways before them, and thou shalt be removed into all kingdoms of the earth. See, we got removed into the kingdoms of the earth. What? Via slavery. Into their kingdoms. You're looking at the kingdoms. These were all the places where the slave trade were bringing slaves to. You hear me? You feel me? All right? Oh, and I got some information about, Ireland that I can't wait to bring out, the proof of the indigenous black people that are all in the islands of Jamaica and Montserrat, some hardcore, concrete, undeniable truths, not just opinion and conjecture like this guy, and then the claiming of other people's history like this guy. It says, thou shalt betroth a wife, and another man shall lie with her, and thou shalt build a house, and thou shalt not dwell therein, and thou shalt plant a vineyard, and thou shalt not gather the grapes thereof. So that's describing slavery. Because whether you were in South Africa, Australia, or whether you were in America, these Edomites were sleeping with the slaves' wives at will, and the slaves and themselves. They didn't build any of their houses. The Israelites did in slavery. That's why the so-called Negroes in America were able to do so good after post-slavery, when they were actually left alone and given the ability, they were able to live off the land. They were able to build up and do well because they had all the skill and know-how on how to do it, because they had been doing it for hundreds of years for free. All right? The so-called white man was sitting on his butt, making babies with his wife and making babies with slave women, and living high off the hog. So he didn't really. That's why, in the summer of 1919, a bloody summer, that there was an organized campaign by these Edomites, not Europeans, to because they're not even the real Europeans. Everything about these people is a lie. We just showed you the evidence of who some of the relics in the BC area, or who were the people in Europe. All right. And you notice they wrote down that they were Egyptians and all this. What was Hercules in Egypt? Come on, man. Because they didn't want to admit that was them trying to lie, and they were saying that these people were African in those so why would white people in Europe be putting black people all over vases? And you find the relics. You don't find them. You don't find these people. You find dark people. You see? All right, let me just jump to verse 68 to the end, and then in the following videos, we'll go back into these curses. But this is Deuteronomy 28 and 68, and it reads, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again. And Egypt means house of bondage. He shall bring you into slavery again with ships. Remember, who owned the slave ships? You're looking at them. All right? By the whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again. The it was Israel. And there you shall be sold unto your enemies. Let's go back a little bit, because this was a place. Hold on. What he said, they set up Christian societies.
Europe, and eventually even Christian civilization.
There you go. This was a place. These were the people these were the slave traders. All these men owned slaves. So how are they the victims when they're the villains? These were your slave owners right here. Everyone in this room owned slaves by the hundreds. All right? And it reads, and the Lord shall bring thee into Egypt again with ships by the way whereof I spake unto thee, thou shalt see it no more again, and there you shall be sold unto your enemies for bondmen and bondwomen, and no man shall buy you, redeem you, save you. All right? So how are you setting up kingdoms if you were the slaves? See, there's a difference between being scattered and being and migrating. As a matter of fact, let's read Deuteronomy one more time. 29 and 33. Or 33 and 29, Salakia. And it reads, Happy art thou, O Israel, who is like unto thee, O people saved by the Lord, the shield of thy help, and who is the sword of thy excellency, and thy enemies shall be found liars unto thee, and thou shalt tread upon their high places. Call halal Yahweh Bashanam Bashai Bashim Bakakwadash, Wa Abba Babal Kwam Yasharala. Shalom.